Good morning, Professor Vendruscolo, and thank you for finding the time for this short interview. As organizers of a COST conference, we were wondering if you were able to share your work and why do you think it's important to share your work also in a community that doesn't have only machine learning experts?
Well, it's a pleasure to be here, and this is an exciting time for structural biology, mostly because of the advent of machine learning. Machine learning is creating really novel opportunities. We can talk more about that, perhaps. But really, the concept of bringing people together through this type of European cost actions is key because being a new field, there are different levels of expertise. There are, those people that are really pioneers and develop new methods. Those people that, are using the methods, maybe even if they are not familiar with the development itself, and some other people that are simply not being involved so much, but perhaps they are interested in understanding the opportunities. So bringing them together can facilitate not just the diffusion of these new methods, but also help focus the activities around specific problems that have become solvable now or could become solvable if one focused the developments in those directions.
Yeah, you were talking about some of the opportunities that machine learning is unlocking and some of the opportunities that might be past, like undervalued or unobserved. What is your perspective, having been in the field for a while? What is extremely relevant that is passing undervalued, or there is something that should be studied more or should be considered more when talking about machine learning in protein structure biology?
Yes, I think at a very fundamental level, what these deep learning methods are making possible now is to get, really a comprehensive description of very complex cellular systems. So with the AlphaFold and related methods, we have already extremely high accuracy predictions of literally hundreds of millions of protein structures, and that's step one. So this is already achieved. So, but what is happening now is also that we are getting highly accurate predictions of how these proteins interact. How can they interact among themselves? How can they interact with nucleic acids, with small molecules, with peptides, with lipids at some point. And so we are going to have a series of tools to describe the molecular interactions that are the basis of cellular functions at really an unprecedented level of coverage and detail. So what we are witnessing is the gradual replacement of costly and time-consuming efforts in structural biology with very fast and cheap deep learning-based methods. So it's really the scale at which we can now understand molecular interactions in cellular biology has completely been transformed. And in that sense, this is where the immediate opportunities looking forward lie.
At the end of your talk, you were saying that we see a light at the end of the tunnel. So that, let's say now we have tools that are way more powerful than before. So let's say that the speed at which we can understand the relevant information, it's increasing enormously. And I think that's why we see, or why experts in the field see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes, I mentioned the light at the end of the tunnel in a very specific sense in my lecture, in that we were talking about developing small molecules that bind disordered protein. And so far, the task of identifying this type of small molecules has been incredibly difficult, mostly because of the lack of high throughput experimental methods for screening chemical libraries. And so really, although the concept clearly was already demonstrated for drug discovery for disorder proteins, the implementation has been, essentially impossible in practice. And now we are beginning to see that using deep learning method, this is changing, this is possible. We can screen ultra large chemical libraries of billions of compounds and calculate by deep learning binding affinities for disordered targets. And as I mentioned in the lecture, there are literally thousands of known targets for drug discovery that, despite being expected to be relevant, they've been undruggable because they are disordered, and therefore there was no way of identifying compounds that could bind them.
Mm-hmm. As a last question, which is the suggestion to a young student entering the field, like starting his or her PhD into the field of machine learning in globular or non-globular proteins? What is the suggestion you would give to this person?
That's a great question. I guess depending on the sort of inclination and preference and abilities of the person, I would say either develop new methods for deep learning in structural biology, or apply them. So choose problems in which these methods can be applied. Because really, I think this revolution of deep learning in structural biology is here to stay, and it's going to be increasingly impactful. So especially young people have to be part of these developments. And in that sense, perhaps an additional piece of advice is to look for mentorship in these areas. So, because in addition to working to choose to work in this area, one also has to make sure that they are in the right place with the right conditions, and the essential one is to have a good mentor. So look for good mentors.
Okay, I'm sure this is going to be valuable for people listening. Thank you for the time, and good luck with your work.
Thank you. My pleasure being here.